Coming up here on Global Business, China's foreign exchange reserves remain broadly stable at over $3.4 trillion as of the end of June. Building the telecom network of the future, pilot regions across China will test 6G applications across key industries for commercial use. And as AI adoption tops 30% among large Chinese industrial firms, Shanghai prepares to host the 2026 World AI Conference next week. And welcome everyone to Global Business here on CGTN. I'm Michael Wong here in Beijing. Well, first up, authorities in China's Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region are now holding a news briefing, just now actually, on flood control and disaster relief. Heavy rain from Typhoon Maysak has caused widespread flooding across large parts of Guangxi, with some areas seeing historically high water levels. So far, 14 cities and 63 counties have been hit, affecting about 375,000 people. At least 6 people have died and 11 others are still missing. Authorities have moved about 130,000 residents to safety. Relief work is continuing after the rainstorms triggered the floods. And of course, we will keep you updated with the latest information as we receive it. All right, turning now to China's foreign exchange reserves, which stood at $3.4 trillion at the end of June. That's down 0.75% from a month earlier. The State Administration of Foreign Exchange saying that exchange rate movements and changes in asset prices weighed on the value of the FX reserves. It also added the U.S. dollar index rose in June, while prices of major global financial assets were mixed. Meanwhile, China's gold reserves rose to over 75 million ounces, marking a 20th straight month of increases. Meanwhile, People's Bank of China Governor Pan Gongsheng saying on Tuesday that China will put more of its foreign currency savings into assets in Hong Kong with the goal of helping the city's financial markets grow. And speaking at an investment forum over in Hong Kong, the governor also urged more high-quality companies to list shares and sell bonds in the city, while announcing new incentives, including raising the yearly investment limit under the Bond Connect program from 500 billion yuan to 800 billion yuan, or about 120 billion US dollars. And these investments will also reach the bond market over in Macau. The Governor Pan added that all these steps are meant to strengthen Hong Kong's position as a global financial hub. So China's foreign exchange reserves remain broadly stable at over $3.4 trillion US dollars at the end of June. But China's central bank governor again did say that Chinese mainland will increase FX reserve allocations to Hong Kong. For more on that, I want to bring in Mr. Liu Zhiqin, a senior fellow at Renmin University's Chongyang Institute for Financial Studies. Mr. Liu, great to have you on the program as always. So first question is, how significant is it, do you think, for the mainland to increase reserve allocations to Hong Kong? And how meaningful of a source of liquidity and confidence will this be for Hong Kong's capital markets?
I think this move is very important for Hong Kong's future, because I think Hong Kong has been always the international financial center in China and in Asia market, because Hong Kong has a very special respect and reputation in the world trading market. So especially in the capital market, the Hong Kong, because of its stabilizing and the law system and also high quality talented, all these preconditions have ensured that Hong Kong as the main capital hub in China, also in Asian market. So this move from the central bank has upgrade the Hong Kong's position at the moment for 3 points. One is that it can enhance the Hong Kong's position as the hub for renminbi internationalization. And the secondly is very important for Hong Kong to be more relaxing and more strong to deal with the cross-border capital risk. The potential risk exists always, but Hong Kong has a very special effectiveness policies and position to deal with all these risks, because Hong Kong in the past years they have dealt already different financial crises. That's why the cross-border capital risk is one important theme. And the third is very important, that Hong Kong can help to stabilizing the foreign exchange rate, because the foreign exchange rate is very essential for renminbi and also for Hong Kong and for the US dollar and other major currencies in the world. So Hong Kong's position will be strengthened and upgraded by this move.
Right. Let me zoom in, Mr. Liu, on Hong Kong's bond markets, because, again, the annual net investment quota under the Bond Connect southbound trading scheme, that's going to rise by 60% from 500 to 800 billion RMB. Plus, bonds held through southbound trading will now become eligible for use in repo agreements. So that allows these bonds to not only become just an investment vehicle, but a financing tool as well. How could these moves, you think, help Hong Kong deepen its bond market?
That's a very good question, because this can really help Hong Kong to deepen the bond market as we planned. As we know that Hong Kong is very strong and rich experiences in the capital market, also in the international second-class market, also for trading and for second-class trading. Also, Hong Kong has a very good experiences and talented people there. But the bond issuance and bond market is to meet the demand and supply side of the mainland, because as we know, southbound trading system has helped Hong Kong to be the hub for major investment for the major listed companies from mainland to have more opportunities and channels to buy or sell bonds in Hong Kong, and through Hong Kong to be more.
All right. We apologize for that. We seem to have... Okay. We apologize for that. We seem to have some audio issues with Mr. Liu's technical... the video that we just had from Mr. Liu. But anyway, that was Mr. Liu Zhiqian, a senior fellow at the Chongyang Institute for Financial Studies, talking to us about Hong Kong's bond market. We'll be right back. Well, China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology has launched a 6G pilot program to accelerate the path toward future commercial use. The initiative focuses on advancing next-generation technologies and deepening the integration of communications with AI, satellite internet, and wireless networks. Now, pilot regions will trial 6G applications in sectors including immersive communications, industrial manufacturing, and the low-altitude economy, and smart maritime operations. Already a global leader in 5G, China expects 6G to deliver speeds of 10 to 100 times faster, along with lower latency and greater reliability.
We will accelerate the maturity of key technologies, including AI communication convergence and integrated sensing and communication. We will step up R&D on core 6G technologies and accelerate the development of relevant standards, proactively planning and cultivating a 6G application ecosystem. We also call for joint efforts to safeguard a unified global 6G standard.
With our three-dimensional coverage, ultra-low latency, and high-bandwidth capabilities, we can empower sectors such as the low-altitude economy, public security, and logistics. On AI, we can enable intelligent agent communication, accelerate the deployment of these use cases, and drive their commercial rollout.
All right, now let's take a step back and ask, what exactly is 6G? Well, it is the next generation mobile infrastructure after 5G, but it's much more than just faster internet. It marks a fundamental shift from simply connecting everything to intelligently connecting everything. And we're talking peak speeds of up to 1 terabit per second. That is up to 100 times faster than 5G. And more importantly, 6G will seamlessly integrate communications with sensing, computing, and AI to build a truly smart network spanning space, air, and ground. Globally, no country has launched commercial 6G yet. All major players are currently in the R&D and standards defining phase. China began its 6G push early and has completed its first phase of technical trials. And during these trials, the country validated over 300 key technology reserves, proven working solutions for the next stage. On the patent front, China holds roughly 40% of global 6G core patents. The first global standard is expected to be finalized by 2029, with commercial rollout targeted for the year 2030. And up next here on Global Business. Even at 1,800%, Samsung profit forecast couldn't save the Republic of Korea markets from a circuit breaker. That's as the Kospi index closed down nearly 5% and Samsung shares at one point sank 9%.
A vast land of 1.4 billion people. The world's second largest economy. Home to stories of the unexpected, the unimaginable, the breathtaking. Stories that touch the soul. Feel the speed, the passion. Enjoy spectacular natural and cultural landscapes. Feel the thrill of cutting-edge innovations. Discovering China. Global Biz. China Travel. We present to China never seen before. 24/7 at your fingertips.
All right, in other headlines we are tracking at this hour, the Republic of Korea's Kospi index closed down nearly 5% today at around 7,700 points. A circuit breaker was triggered for about 20 minutes amid tech sell-offs. That's despite Samsung's forecast of an 1,800% surge in quarterly operating profit driven by AI demand. That news, of course, failing to lift sentiment with its shares tumbling at one point over 9% on Tuesday. SpaceX is set to officially join the Nasdaq 100 index on Tuesday, marking the fastest inclusion since the index was established. And with a market cap of approximately $2.1 trillion, the company is expected to rank among the top 15 constituents of the Nasdaq 100 upon its addition. And German industrial production unexpectedly rose by 0.9% month-on-month in May, marking the strongest growth since September of last year. Now, this signals the German economy did hold up following the virtual closure of the Strait of Hormuz. All right, we turn now to Britain, where UK household costs are skyrocketing. Rising tensions with Iran have pushed oil prices higher, driving up the cost of clothing and everyday goods. The government has pledged support, but persistent global instability continues to push shopping bills higher across the board. Our John Beaver has more.
Whether you're filling your cupboards or refreshing your wardrobe, the receipts can make painful reading.
Something that I used to pay £1.50 for has now gone up to £2.10.
There is some kind of a difference between the price it was before the war and now. So definitely there is an increase in the price.
If you're working for pennies and then you're paying extreme premiums of prices of things that aren't worth it.
Everything is gone up.
A rapid and sustained hike in the cost of oil was the first thing to hit consumers after hostilities broke out in Iran. That pain at the pumps soon filtered down into hundreds of other products.
The synthetic fibres in this shirt are derived from oil. The same is true of the plastic packaging for hygiene and beauty products. And no matter where you look in your house, prices are being driven up by what's happening thousands of kilometres away.
The cost of oil isn't solely to blame. The fashion giant Next announced they were raising their prices as a direct result of the war. Higher costs for energy, shipping and raw materials have all been blamed, along with supply chain delays. In the UK, the government insists tackling high prices is an urgent priority.
We're doing everything we can to tackle the cost of living. We're increasing wages faster than inflation, creating thousands of jobs, helping people into work, increasing pensions and universal credit. And now we're going even further to ease the pressure on families this summer, because tackling the cost of living is the core purpose of this UK Labour government.
But the interconnected nature of the global economy has left consumers facing a harsh reality. The cost of instability will be paid on high streets around the world, one purchase at a time. John Beaver, CGTN, Bristol.
And oil prices have returned to pre-war levels 3 weeks after the Strait of Hormuz was reopened, but the aftershock of the months-long war is, of course, far from over, with key materials for car batteries and semiconductors becoming much more expensive compared with the beginning of the year. Our Michael Merlier walks us through the supply chain disruptions so far.
Oil prices surged when the Strait of Hormuz closed, but the crisis went beyond oil, raising the risk of price hikes for all sorts of products. Let's start with food. Farmers around the world use nitrogen fertilizers to grow crops. These fertilizers help feed around 48% of the world's population. And this is a key point. Nearly a third of them pass through countries located around the Strait of Hormuz. Now, this is the price of urea, which is one of the most widely used fertilizers. $465 a ton when the Iran war started in late February. By mid-April, $720. The price fell as the US and Iran worked towards a ceasefire, but the war clearly had an impact. And we saw it in other areas as well, even electric vehicles. Last year, 1/4 of new cars were either electric or hybrid. That's nearly 21 million vehicles. Of course, EVs don't need oil, but they do need sulfur, which is used to make the batteries. Nearly 45% of sulfur comes from countries using the Strait to ship exports. And again, the markets tell the story. Sulfur traded at $570 per ton just before the war. On June 15, it hit $1,630, almost 3 times higher than it was before the conflict. Finally, helium. Yes, it's the stuff in party balloons, but it's also used to make the semiconductors in computers. Global sales of semiconductors reached $791 billion in 2025. So, fair to say, the industry is booming. Now, Qatar produces 30% of the world's helium. It uses the Strait of Hormuz to ship its exports. But that may not be the biggest problem. Most of its helium comes from the Ras Laffan facility, which made headlines after it was hit by Iranian missiles in March. It is up and running, but officials say it could take months before production returns to normal. What does that mean for prices? Well, helium is usually bought through long-term contracts, so for now, the impact may be limited. Still, analysts say with a 60 to 90-day disruption, prices could climb 50%. And that would take effect once those locked-in deals come to an end. So, this conflict clearly sent shockwaves through the global economy. For now, there's hope that things will return to normal. But if the Strait is closed long-term, consumers may pay a heavy price.
And Danish shipping line Maersk and German rival Hapag-Lloyd have restarted Suez Canal transits via their joint AE-15 service. That's a trade route connecting ports here in Asia, the Mediterranean, and Europe, and ending a 3-year diversion around Africa's Cape of Good Hope that began after Houthi rebel attacks in November of 2023. The return, based on improved Red Sea security assessments, sharply cuts transit times. However, the shift remains conditional on regional stability, with contingency plans ready should threats resurface. Now, since the attacks, Cape traffic has tripled while Suez transits have halved. Maersk shares dipped 5.9% following that announcement. It's still to come here on Global Business. As AI adoption tops 30% among large Chinese industrial firms, Shanghai prepares to host the 2026 World AI Conference next week.
The world economy as we know it is about to change. Global business reports highlight emerging markets, developing countries, and dynamic sectors worldwide. We feature top analysts and newsmakers to provide perspectives on every facet of business. From an on-the-ground perspective, we provide you with balanced and objective assessments. Fast, sharp, and insightful. Global Business. Only on CGTN.
The 2026 World Artificial Intelligence Conference will be held over in Shanghai next week, China's top industry regulator told reporters today. The four-day event includes over 140 discussion sessions and 3,000 exhibits spread across record-sized venues. More than 300 AI products are making their global debut at the event. Briefing the media, Gan Xiaobin, an official from China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, said that nearly one-third of China's large industrial companies have now started using AI. Most AI applications are being used on factory floors and in workshops where human-like robots are becoming more common. An official from China's top economic planner, the NDRC, also spoke to reporters about what China's AI landscape will look like over the next 5 years.
During the 15th five-year plan period, China will accelerate basic researches and technological breakthroughs in key fields. These include large language models, computing power, and data centers. We'll be focusing on certain application scenarios of strategic importance, with great economic contribution and high social benefits. Meanwhile, we'll guide AI to transform hazardous labor-intensive roles first, keeping a close eye on its impact on future jobs.
And foreign institutional experts say China's export structure is steadily upgrading, with high-end manufacturing exports remaining robust. In the second half of the year, the AI industry chain is expected to further boost two-way trade in technology goods.
In particular, high-tech and high-value-added mechanical and electrical products, their export growth has been very strong, up 18.4%, and they now account for more than 60% of total exports. Looking ahead to the second half, we remain relatively optimistic. Global demand for AI and computing power is still surging. That will significantly boost chips, fiber optic cables, and power equipment export.
If you look at it from the investor side, no matter local companies or foreign companies, they're all pretty convinced. China's position in the supply chain is rock solid. A lot of them looked elsewhere, went full circle, and ended up coming back. Because they still realize they need that synergy with China. And one thing's for sure, China is even harder to replace now.
New applications like AI data centers and green mining, they're expanding the market for batteries even further. Right now, global battery production capacity and the entire battery supply chain is still concentrated in China. And Chinese companies have clear advantages in both technology and cost.
And the United Nations is hosting the first high-level global dialogue on AI governance over in Geneva. Governments, international organizations, industry, and civil society are all meeting to discuss global rules for AI. China's Minister of Industry and Information Technology, Li Lecheng, attended the event as the Chinese government's senior representative. Our reporter Julia Hamilton has more.
Artificial intelligence is advancing faster than regulation, and the world is trying to keep up. The United Nations has brought together governments, international organizations, and field experts in Geneva to discuss AI governance, covering AI opportunities and risks, bridging AI divides, international cooperation, and human oversight of AI systems.
And we have seen different member states all around the globe which are introducing now already AI governance structures, and therefore also the learning from each other, being better together by joining forces. This is one of the key parts of these days here in Geneva.
Beijing is represented by Minister of Industry and Information Technology, Li Lecheng. Addressing the dialogue, he called for stronger international cooperation on AI governance, saying all countries should have an equal opportunity to develop and benefit from artificial intelligence. China has consistently backed the UN as the main platform for global AI governance and says it wants to help bridge the global AI divide. Some of China's leading AI experts are also attending the event.
We need a platform that put all the considerations all together to find the consensus interoperability. Instead of competing with each other, you find a way to connect with each other and to learn from each other. So the next step is that really to use the platform like this global dialogue on AI governance, like the UN General Assembly, to solve problems based on these discussions.
Following the high-level segment, industry experts and academics took part in thematic sessions and various side events to discuss potential benefits as well as bottlenecks in AI governance.
Governments and officials here agree that artificial intelligence is advancing at extraordinary speed. But building international consensus takes far longer. Here in Geneva, the United Nations hopes to provide a platform where governments can begin shaping common rules for one of the world's most transformative technologies. Whether that consensus can be achieved remains one of the defining questions of the AI era. Julia Hamilton, CGTN, Geneva.
And a group of 77 students from top U.S. universities, including Yale, Brown, and Johns Hopkins, are over in Chengdu for an academic and cultural exchange program. A one-stop on their trip takes them inside a local humanoid robotics company where they test robots and speak with engineers working on embodied AI. CGTN's Zhang Zhenni has more.
Yes, I can understand English.
Well, just like me, students here are trying out different robot demonstrations such as robotic dogs or humanoid robots. For many of them, it's the first time seeing China's robotic industry from inside a company.
I really like this close experience that we can have and actually participate and interact and touch robots. This was very, very, very interesting, very cool.
I think that coming today, I saw like how impressive a lot of the different robots are. And I think it's a super exciting time, especially in robotics and AI and technology in general.
At first, many students focus on how the robots move and respond. After the demonstrations, their questions shift to where the technology could be used.
I think what's exciting is that some of these robots can replace some of the dangerous jobs that humans do today. We're looking at, the fire rescue, the police, search and rescue. So I think that's exciting. And also they're talking about how in the future maybe you could do some of the household chores and all that. So that's what I was most excited about.
My grandma, she's in a senior home in the U.S. And she's talking to me and she said, right now you're taking care of me, but I hope that one day I'll have a robot that can also help me out.
For many students, seeing the technology in person gives them a different perspective from what they've learned in class or read in the news.
Most people in America have seen the performances. Like we already know that these robots are pretty advanced, but seeing it in person is just different.
Obviously, this is just the beginning, but already what I've seen is really, really amazing and beyond what I could have imagined before I stepped foot into here.
For the educators accompanying the group, this direct experience is the point.
I hope that our students specifically, can see the importance of, several different things. One is how they can use their language in the field that they're interested in. I also hope that they can see how quickly and how amazing the developments that China has going on right now in not just robotics, but other different types of technology, other different types of fields as well.
For many of the students, the visit offers more than a close-up look at new technology. It's a chance to see today's China for themselves. Zhang Zhenni, CGTN, Chengdu.
And that's going to wrap up this edition of Global Business here on CGTN. I'm Michael Wong here in Beijing. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next time.